Well, boys and girls, if you come back after the intro, we're going to discuss measuring your trek through the wild. Oh, damn, that's a good cup of coffee. Oh, hello there. Glad to see you came back. I have an interesting project for you today. And I'm going to need, well, what I'm going to need is a long, straight edge, straight ruler. No, I don't need a square, I just need a long ruler. Our project today is to replace my old pace counters. Because let's be clear, these things are only good as long as they will stay up. And my pace counters have long since given up the ghost on keeping themselves up. I'm a bad boy. So, since I no longer have any of the OD green paracord, now I'm not going to tear apart my old beads. They've served me well for the last 9 years, but they've simply worn out from all the classes I've given using them. Now, in a previous video, you saw me working with something like this, only it was in black. This is my orange variant. So, I'm going to use the Blaze Orange paracord for my new beads. So the first thing you need to know is that we need between 19 and 20 inches of paracord. No, we don't need more than that. This is 19 inches when I made it. It has stretched a little since then. Not much, but a little bit, but just enough. The point is, if you make it much bigger than 19 inches or 20 inches, these things get so long that they swing around, they can get caught on things when you're walking through the brush. You don't want that. So 19 is plenty long enough for a set of pace beads. But I found those two have been a little short, so I'm going to actually go to 20 with this pair. So now this is 22 inches on here, so I'm going to start at the 2-inch mark. Give myself an exact. There we go. Right there where my fingers are, that's 20 inches. Bugger. There we go. There's that part. Another thing you want to do when you go to making your own pair of pace counter beads is you're going to want to create a fid on the end of the line. Now, I tend to prefer to make these in quantity. So what do I mean by in quantity? I'd rather make 6 or 8 pair all at one time than to only make one at a time. Now, why is that? Well, that's simple. I can thread all the beads over one fid instead of having to make 5 or 6 fids and sliding them all on one unit at a time. So what is a fid? Well, you can actually go on the internet and buy fids made out of metal that a piece of paracord will thread into, but they're rather a little large for the job, since what I have bought are 9mm beads. These are what I keep on hand for making these out of. And this is supposed to be 10mm cord. The whole point is you want the fid on there to just barely be small enough, and I didn't. Oh, bother. I didn't quite get it small enough, so trouble is this stuff gets really hot and it'll burn you if you aren't extremely careful. I make no bones about it, folks. That was hot. And the whole idea is, there we go, to make a point that will actually go through the bead and not hang up, but yet seal the end of the paracord so that it won't fray out when you do try to put it through a bead. You see, paracord is just fat enough that it hangs the bead up a bit. Now, to make sure I'm not threading these on and they go falling off, I'm going to make a simple overhand knot on this end of the paracord. Like so. Now the beads can't fall off. And we are going to thread 19 of these bad boys on here. Yes, I said 19, not 20, not 21, not 17, 19. Scratch that. 13 of them. It's been a while since I made one of these. Matter of fact, I think the last one I made was about 2 years ago. 13 of them. You want 9 on one side, that's why I was getting the 19. So sue me, I'm dyslexic. I turn numbers around in my head. We want 13 of these, 9 on one side and 4 on the other. Now, why that odd combination? Well, the whole point of pace counters is to be able to pace off a mile. And to make that happen, you have to first do your homework before you try using a pair of pace counters, set of pace counters. What you have to do is you have to go out with a measuring tape of some sort. I don't care what kind of measuring tape you have, a measuring tape. Whether it be a 5-foot or a 500-foot measuring tape. It don't matter, a measuring tape. You're going to go out and you're going to find a spot that's hilly. And you're going to measure out 100 yards on going up and down the side of a hill. You only need one course for this, because you're going to pace it off from up on the top down, and you're going to pace it off from down at the bottom up to the top of the 100 yards. The reason for doing that is because your pace count going up will be different from your pace count coming down. It always will be. I don't care who you are. You could be an experienced 20-year veteran Marine. Your pace count going up will be different than your pace count coming down. Without fail. Okay, I now have my 4 and 9 beads on here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4. That's what we need. And now we've got a knot on one end, we're going to make a knot on the other. Now remember, I am intentionally making these longer, but only a little bit longer than my previous set. And we want to pull these overhand knots just as tight as we can get them. I know it doesn't yet look like paste beads. It will in a minute. Give me time. Now, as I was saying, once you've done your up and downhill pace counting, and do it 3 or 4 times, and keep track of what your count is, 4 times coming downhill, 4 times going uphill, and then you average them. So you get an average for your uphill count, an average for your downhill count. Then you're going to set up a 100-yard track on flat, level ground. And you're going to do the same number of passes on the 100 yards, counting how many paces it takes you to go from one end to the other, and then back. and then you're going to average that. So then you got three averages, one for uphill, one for downhill, and one for flat level. Now you're going to add the three together and you're going to average those. This will give you your average pace count for 100 yards in the wild. Because you're not always going to be on flat level. You're not always going to be on uphill, and you're not always going to be on downhill. Now, it's a good thing to know what those three averages each are. What your uphill pace count is, what your downhill pace count is, what your flat level pace count is. In case you should ever find yourself like out in the Midwest, where it's flat and level for 1,000 miles, so to speak. Now, I know it's not actually 1,000 miles, but you get my point. It's 1,000 days of walking, and it's all flat level. Then again, you could be trying to cross the Rockies where you're going uphill about 90% of the time. Not really 90%, but you get my point. You'll want to know what your straight uphill pace count will be, separate from the rest. And the same for your downhill pace count. You're going to want to know what your individual downhill pace count is. And if you don't have a brain for numbers, keep you a little pocket notebook, and on the very front cover you write this in magic marker. Uphill pace count, averaged over 4 attempts, is X number of paces for 100 yards. Downhill, X number of yards. Flat level, X number of yards. Average of the three, X number of paces per 100 yards. These are important pieces of data that you should know about yourself before you ever try to play with these. Because now, here in the eastern woodlands, there's very little land you can be on where you're going to be on flat level ever, all the time. Yeah, you're on flat level more than you are on long, steeper uphills or long, steeper downhills. But the general terrain is you're doing a lot of this with some flat. So that's why you need the average of the three together. And here's what you want to do. What I like to do. I like to have my 4 a little higher than my 9. And then with a bite in the line, another simple overhand loop knot, and I like to leave myself a passably good size loop on top. And now you can put that through a buttonhole on a shirt with a pocket, or you can use it like a zipper pull on a pack, or you can add it to a neck knife. You know, if my neck knife were hanging here, I could attach it to the sheath. There are lots of ways to carry pace counters, but this is what you want. And when you get in the woods and you get out in the field and you want to start using these, you want all your beads at the very top. And as you start walking and you count your... Now, for me, it was 61 paces was my average for the New England woodlands. So every time I go 68 paces, I'd pull down a bead. Now, I'd be willing to bet my pace count is a lot longer than 68 anymore. I'm thinking right now my pace count is going to be somewhere around 75 to 78. Why? Because there's a major hitch in my giddy-up. And here's the next thing you got to know is, every time you've pulled all 9 beads down, you're now going to go one more time. You're going to count off your average pace. And once you have done that, you're going to pull your 9 back up to the top and pull one of your 4 down. When you've gotten to the point where you've pulled all 4 down and you've pulled down all 9 one more time, you're going to count your pace one more time. Whether it's 62 average or a 79 average, whatever your number is, you're going to count that one more time. At which time you're going to pull all your beads back to the top and know you have now traveled 1 mile. Provided you ain't been traveling in circles. But that's another lesson for another day, boys and girls. This is Embrato from Embrato Smithing and Woodcraft. Peace out. Well, boys and girls, if you come back after the intro, we're going to discuss measuring your trek through the wild. By the way, don't forget to